Councilmember Fong, Monterey Park Mayor Wong, and all the other organizations and local elected officials here that are representing the San Gabriel Valley. We are here in the city of Monterey Park, but really here to say that we are here because we know that this is where the heart of our multicultural municipalities reside, in this general area. And I want to tell you that the County Board of Supervisors, as you know, is one of the most diverse boards in terms of representation. We represent 10 million people. There are 5 women. We represent 10 million, that's 2 million each. And I will tell you that that is a lot of people and a lot of diversity. In fact, our districts are larger than 14 states, meaning we represent more than 28 of our own United States senators. I often joke about how in my own district, I represent more people than Senator Bernie Sanders in Vermont. How about that? How about that? And each of our districts has pockets of very, very diverse communities, and many of them are represented here this morning. Just as an example, in the 1st District, which I represent, we represent communities from all over the world, including Mexican, Salvadorian, Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Korean, African American, and so many other ethnic groups. And we provide, as you know, through the County of Los Angeles, a safety net for our most vulnerable residents. That's not lost on any of us. And to maintain a thriving system through the County of Los Angeles, we help to maintain our park system, our infrastructure system, our libraries, our outdoor spaces, our parks, and many learning enrichment programs for our children, and we support one of the largest hospital systems in the country. That's what the County of Los Angeles does. And given the role of the Board of Supervisors that it plays in the lives of all Angelenos, I believe it's critical for our residents in our communities to have equal representation. I have always been about electing leadership that reflects the residents. And I'm proud to say that alongside my good friend, Congresswoman Judy Chu, who when I took office as Secretary of Labor, she replaced me in the Congress. That's diversity, that's representation, and that's a continuation of coalition building. I've heard from so many of my residents, even 2 years ago when they redistricted my own seat. I lost many Southeast communities, but I picked up the largest areas in unincorporated parts of LA County. That is Rowland Heights and Hacienda Heights. And I tell you, the diversity is our strength. I see it as something that is helping us to unite people. So I know with this initiative, Measure G, it's about expansion of our board. And let me just give you some details here. As of the 2020 census count, there are over 4.8 million Latinos, Hispanics, and 1.5 million Asian American and Pacific Islanders that make up the County of Los Angeles. Combined, this is over 60% of the county's total population of 10 million residents. So talk about diversity. We need more diversity and we need more representation. Those numbers should be reflected in our county government. And we need to make sure that all of the county's diverse voices have a seat at the table and that they also have access to direct services in a way that positively impacts all the county's communities. And it's shameful that there's only one Latina on the board. That's one thing I will say. We don't even have an AAPI representative, and yet I just told you there's over 1.6 million Asians, AAPI individuals that are our residents that make up the County of Los Angeles. The expansion will also give a larger voice to residents living in the unincorporated parts of the county, and I mentioned some of them before. East Los Angeles, which I currently represent, Rowland Heights, and Hacienda Heights. So let's not forget that Measure G also includes some critical ethics reforms that will be codified in the county charter. The establishment, for one, an independent ethics commission that will guarantee the county continues to make decisions with the highest level of integrity and accountability. Measure G offers residents greater transparency and representation from their elected officials. This has been told to me and others loud and clear from our residents. And it's going to take all of us, everyone here today, to help us get to the finish line. That's why it's so important to have everybody engaged and have all voices at the table. So with that, I am pleased to next introduce one of my good friends, colleague, and someone that I've known for decades, and we've worked in partnership here, especially starting right here in Monterey Park, to build a coalition between Latinos, AAPI communities, and others, and to help empower the voices that we have here, not just in the San Gabriel Valley, but now even in our nation's capital. So with that, I'm pleased to introduce my good friend, Congresswoman Judy Chu.
Well, thank you, Supervisor Solis. Amongst many things, I will be forever grateful to you for putting Measure G on the ballot and making sure we have greater diversity and representation at the LA County Board of Supervisors. Thank you for doing that. Well, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I want to thank the Board of Supervisors, and specifically Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, Janice Hahn, and of course our own Hilda Solis, for their leadership in placing Measure G on the ballot so that we can reform LA County government to be more representative, transparent, and accountable to Angelenos. Our current form of government no longer works. It was established in 1912 and has remained unchanged for over a century. Back then, our population was a mere 500,000, and the landscape of our society was drastically different. Women didn't even have the right to vote. Fast forward to today, we are the most populous county in the entire nation, with each of our 5 supervisors representing an overwhelming 2 million constituents. It is time we acknowledge that LA County has to evolve to meet the demands of our diverse and dynamic communities. And one of the crucial reforms in Measure G is, in fact, the critical one, which is the expansion of the Board of Supervisors from 5 to 9 members. This expansion is not just a structural adjustment, it's a crucial step toward ensuring that our government truly represents the rich diversity of our region. LA County is home to more Asian Americans than any other county in the United States, with close to 1.5 million AAPIs living here. Asian Americans have outpaced overall population growth, with cities such as Monterey Park, Koreatown, Long Beach, Torrance, Cerritos, and Santa Clarita, seeing that their AAPI communities have more than tripled in size. In fact, today, LA County is home to 14 Asian majority suburbs, most of whom are right here in the San Gabriel Valley, and of course include the city we're sitting in, Monterey Park. But despite this overwhelming growth of AAPI communities across LA County, there's not one single AAPI person who sits on the Board of Supervisors. In fact, in its 172-year history, LA County has never had an AAPI person sit on the board. And that's an injustice. For far too long, AAPI communities have been marginalized. And when we think about some of the most discriminatory laws passed that targeted our communities, like the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, or the orders to incarcerate Japanese Americans during World War II, we didn't have representation amongst our elected officials to fight back. And so, I say to all of you, representation matters. And fortunately, we can finally get true representation in LA County by reforming the county's charter so that it is more reflective of who we are as a county. By increasing the number of supervisors, each will represent 1 million constituents, bringing government closer to the people and enhancing representation for a rapidly growing AAPI community by finally giving us a seat at the table. Measure G will create a more transparent and accountable government. Currently, many important budget decisions are made behind closed doors. These new reforms will require more public budget hearings so that everyone can see how their tax dollars are being spent and how the Board of Supervisors is addressing critical issues like homelessness and public safety. And it will establish an independent ethics commission to build public trust and fight corruption. And most importantly, Measure G won't cost taxpayers anything. With the county's existing $45.6 million budget, Measure G will simply reallocate funds to create a better government structure for Angelenos. But to make this a reality, we need your support. So please help us in spreading the word so that every Angeleno votes yes for Measure G. Together, we can create an LA County government that is truly transparent, accountable, and serves all its diverse communities.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Judy Chu, for that warm introduction. And a good morning to each and every one of you. I'm proud to join everyone here today in support of Measure G, a critical reform that will bring much needed change to LA County government. As we look at the sign, this is Measure G is for good government. And thank you to Chair Horvath, to Supervisor Solis for your leadership and efforts on this issue, including Supervisor Han as well, and to Congresswoman Judy Chu, to Mayor Wong, and all our community leaders for joining us here today. Simply, Measure G is about representation. Expanding the Board of Supervisors from 5 to 9 members means more voices at the table, especially for communities like ours that have been historically underrepresented. As you heard from our Congress member and from our supervisor, there has never been an Asian American Pacific Islander elected to the Board of Supervisors in the 170-year history of the County of Los Angeles. And only 1 of 5 is currently Latino. A more inclusive government will ensure that every community needs are prioritized. Furthermore, ethics and transparency are at the heart of Measure G. With the establishment of an independent ethics commission, we can ensure that decisions are in the best interest of the public and decisions not made behind closed doors. This is about making government more accountable to the people it serves. Measure G ensures transparency also in the budget process. By requiring budget hearings, the measure guarantees that residents know exactly how their tax dollars are being spent and that the funds are being directed to where they are needed most for the most crucial services. And this reform is not just about today, but about our future generations here in the San Gabriel Valley and throughout Los Angeles County. With Measure G, we have the opportunity and chance to create a county government that is more responsive, more transparent, and more representative of LA County. I encourage everyone to please join myself and everyone here in voting yes on Measure G this November. Together, we can build a stronger, more transparent, and more representative Los Angeles County. Thank you so much.